What is it with these movies? Did you see how many naked breasts were in there? It seems like all you need is a hockey mask and a machete, and you're going to have an endless supply of hot white women.
Give me a minute, I'll be right back.
Hey, where are the white women at?
What kind of faggot runs around in a Christmas sweater? You're not even scary. And let's talk about the butter knives.
A lot to talk about with this movie, but one of the first things that stuck out to me is Kelly Rowland. Oh my God, what a disaster. I mean, I've seen some bad acting, especially in these type of movies, but she stood out like a sore thumb.
Did you find it challenging to play a movie?
It was.
To act?
It was challenging, but you know what? I like challenges. I think it's really great when you can try something new, you can give it your all, and you can see how it came out. So far, I've been getting a lot of good feedback from this movie, so hopefully this is just the beginning.
She didn't feel like someone that was part of the friend group. The way she talked and the way she acted is like, why are these people in the same room together, much less friends? You know,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
didn't like each other, and they didn't sound like people who had anything in common.
Didn't Mr. Real just drop kick your ass without so much as a goodbye handshake?
Yeah, and she seemed like the typical best friend, there to support the main character and make sure she's okay, but, not really a lot of her own personality in a way.
I thought she had plenty of personality, maybe too much personality. Very sassy.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe personality was the wrong word.
We don't have time for data dork right now. Thanks. You know, I always pictured you as a straight up bedwetter. You were fucking 14, so get over it.
In the early 2000s, there were a lot of black hip hop and R&B stars that would be in movies, in smaller roles, and specifically horror movies. Most of these movies were in the early 2000s, some were in the late 90s, but they all kind of followed the same trend of these hip hop stars, non-actors, either making their debuts or, the famous Jay-Z song to keep it hip hop, grand opening, grand closing, where they would make their debut and their exits in these movies.
This kind of goes back, decades where, Hollywood would put famous singers, famous rock stars into movies just to try and get that teen audience. And I think that's what was happening here. They were kind of driven by demographic targeting. Apparently, someone figured out that black audiences had a consistently high turnout for horror films. So they wanted to appeal to that audience, and they figured putting in some hip hop stars would be a good way to do that. So, yeah, I think that's the main reason. This also intersected with the rise of MTV culture, and the whole soundtrack driven marketing, where every movie had to have a soundtrack.
There was an ample amount of breasticis in this movie. There was a lot of nudity in this movie, which is surprising because nudity to sell movies was generally an 80s into the 90s type thing, maybe early to mid 90s. So it's kind of odd and refreshing that there was this much nudity in this movie. Several actresses were topless, some bottomless from different angles. Not complaining, not complaining at all. Just surprised. That's all I'll say.
Catherine Isabel, who plays the character of Gib, she was originally, when she auditioned, she was going for the lead role, but the director decided, no, you'd be better for this role. And she didn't know that that was the role that was supposed to have nudity. I guess he didn't communicate that with her, so it led to some arguments, and that's why I think she didn't actually do the nudity. You've got obvious body double, I think, when
In the
she's
shower scene
in
where
the shower. Yeah,
suddenly her breasts look about 10 times bigger than they were in her top.
that's right, that's right. But Catherine Isabel, of course, is a great actress. She's a Canadian actress. She's most famous for Ginger Snaps and the two sequels.
No.
At the end of the day, whatever an actor says, it doesn't really matter until you actually step on set. So generally what I do is shoot those scenes first. So if they're not going to do it, I have time to recast. But sometimes even if they do it, you don't know what their motivation is. Their motivation can be, I want to do this to become a star, or I want to do it because I don't care. It's not a big deal to me. You just have to make a guess because they're actors. They lie for a living. If they weren't good at lying, they wouldn't be actors. And you don't want a situation where someone does nudity in your movies and then a few years later they find God or they find a lawyer and they say, remove me from your movie, remove that scene from your movie, or I'm going to sue you or I'm going to slander you. And you don't want someone that's going to be an enemy for life over like one scene in your movie. So when you play that game, it's a very dangerous one because it goes even beyond nudity. If again, if even if it's a scene where actor does drugs and they find God, they don't want to be portrayed in that way, you know? So it's a very tricky situation. It's something I've been through a lot. And there's really no real easy answer aside from there's a cultural shift anyway, where people don't even care about nude scenes in movies. So I guess it's less of a factor now, but I definitely empathize with the director in this situation.
Two horror movie icons finally battling each other, and you actually see them beat the crap out of each other.
Freddy versus Jason.
Place your bets.
It's very difficult when you're doing a versus and they're both bad guys. It's like, how do you creatively come up with a way to have them fight and you care? This is something that happens a lot in like professional wrestling or even like in real fights, that boxing, MMA, whatever. In the promotion of a fight, someone has to take the antagonist and someone has to take the protagonist role. Even if it's two likable people or two dislikable people, if we don't find a way to root for someone and root against someone else, it's going to be hard to build drama. And they did their best. It's not an easy situation. And there's some decision making. It's like, what the hell am I watching?
We need him alive! Dude, what do you want me to do? Like, give him mouth to mouth or something?
It's like, what are we watching?
In a way, I did root for Jason from time to time, but I think if they had written it just a slightly differently, where they made him kind of like a misunderstood Frankenstein's monster, where he really doesn't want to hurt anyone, but he's been resurrected and he's being forced to do this. And maybe originally it was his mother who kind of forced him to do things, and now Freddy's doing it. And he just wants to rest in peace, but he's being forced. And then, of course, ultimately he fights back to basically get out of this and rest in peace. I think that would have been more clearly, I'm rooting for this guy. But
you're one of those people that probably says, "What's 6 million Jews?" You're such a sympathizer for horrible people.
That's a ridiculous comparison.
I'm really sorry about your dirty, underhanded, backstabbing ways. Your number one dirty Jew fan,
Angus Combe.
I'm just saying they could have made him even more sympathetic. I mean, yes, if you're going to look at his entire history.
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. They could have made Hitler more sympathetic.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure some people have tried, but no, that's not. No. We're not going there. That's completely off the charts. No. This is
You're
just.
right. You are completely off the charts. I agree. You are off the charts with your takes, man.
Yeah. Well. But just as a note, though, that's Ken Kersinger who's behind the mask in this movie. And oddly enough, he was actually in Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. He played an uncredited role of New York Cook. So I don't remember that part, but he has some credibility as being
You don't remember the part of the uncredited cook
New York
in
Cook?
Jason
No.
Takes Manhattan?
No.
What kind of horror fan are you? This is the best matchup of like 1989 or something. This is a dream 80s matchup that ended up in the 2000s somehow, some way. And a lot of the delays were, of course, behind the scenes, legal stuff, what studio had the rights, New Line or Paramount. And I say it should have happened in the 80s. The dispute started in the 80s. It was rights, egos, money, delayed production for a long time, finding the right script. Whatever you want to say about this script, if you look at some of the treatments you can find online for what they intended to do, this is a masterpiece. This was the best idea they were coming up with. So whatever you think about this version, the other versions would have been far, far sillier and worse. But with the timing, it's not just that it's late, but it's also what happened during that time period when it would have been good to when it did come out. The landscape completely changed because of a little movie called Scream. The way we looked at horror movies completely changed. So instead of this looking like, oh my God, a dream matchup, it was just kind of nostalgia for older horror fans. And I don't think it really grabbed the younger audience. Despite all that, though, the movie cost around 30 million and made 116. So when you even when you factor in marketing, even if you want to say that 30 million didn't include marketing, no matter how you look at it, 116 off of 30, that's a very profitable movie. So it's kind of a shame that they didn't see a way or a path of a sequel. Then again, looking at the scripts they had, maybe it's a good thing they didn't try to do a sequel. This essentially reset everything because no more Robert Englund after this.
Yeah, well, they probably didn't want to spend another 10 years trying to figure out what the next movie would be, so they figured, let's just wipe the slate clean and start
That's
over.
true. You know, you made a good point. The sequel's probably due any day now.
That's right, that's right. Maybe they are working on it. Who are we to say? Yeah. Yeah, Robert Englund, he's still alive, isn't he?
Sure, they can wheel him around out of his retirement home.
That's right. Yeah.
Hey, get out of here, bitch.
Why not?
I pooped my pants, bitch. Change my diaper, bitch.
That's a different kind of nightmare on Elm Street, I must say.
Feed me my mashed peas, bitch. Wheel me to the urinal, bitch.
The prime time, bitch. I've been guarding my gate for a long time, bitch. We'll see, bitch. Bon appetit, bitch. Come. Ooh, this, bitch. Get the pet for the rugrat, bitch. Being dead wasn't a problem, but being forgotten. Now that's a bitch. Let me handle this, bitch. It's not my fault this bitch is dead on her feet. Welcome to my world, bitch. Die, little bitch. Think you're so smart, huh, bitch?
Freddy vs. Jason was really just talk for a lot of years. A movie that fans wanted to see, but Hollywood just couldn't figure out how to make. I suppose it's an early example of fan service before most of us had even heard the term. The most surprising thing about it is how well it works. The script is downright clever, if slightly convoluted. It's almost like two movies fused together, one for Freddy, one for Jason. The stories of the human characters hold it all together. Final girl Lori dealing with the fact that her mother was murdered, her boyfriend took off without saying goodbye, and her father may be involved in some nefarious goings-on. But it's the town-wide conspiracy to erase Freddy Krueger from history that really puts the movie over the top. The writers have carefully crafted a world in which the only way to keep Freddy away is to make sure that no one remembers him. The script slowly reveals the depth of the subterfuge. Anyone who mentions his name is quickly silenced. Obituaries are erased from newspaper archives. Kids who come into contact with him are locked in an institution where they're given an experimental drug to prevent them from dreaming. And one of them is Laurie's missing boyfriend, Will. Freddy vs. Jason may not be a masterpiece, but it's a better movie than it has any business being, considering that it was based on one visual joke. If you haven't seen it, give it a chance. You may be pleasantly surprised.
I remember not liking Freddy vs. Jason at all when it first came out in 2003. And I kept asking myself, why? Was it timing? This showdown was at least a decade too late. In the 80s, this would have been a dream matchup, pun intended. And it should have come out before Scream reshaped horror. But still, better late than never, right? Looking back, maybe it just didn't live up to the legacy of both franchises. I dug into Rotten Tomatoes, and honestly, that explained a lot. Out of both franchises, only the original Nightmare on Elm Street is certified fresh. 94% critics, 84% fans. Beyond that, only Dream Warriors and the original Friday the 13th hover in the fresh zone. Barely. The rest? Low-budget cash grab sequels propped up by nostalgia and fan loyalty. So in that light, Freddy vs. Jason makes sense. It's not an elevated horror classic. It's not The Shining or Get Out. But it does deliver everything fans of both series wanted. Freddy's sardonic humor, Jason's relentless violence, surreal dream kills, blood, nudity, drugs, practical effects, and extended fight sequences between two icons. Revisiting it now, I actually think it's awesome. It's not flawless, far from it, but it taps into the primal fun of horror, the spectacle, the absurdity, the cheap thrills. If you want depth, look elsewhere. But if you want paper-thin characters getting torn apart for 90 minutes while two horror legends beat the hell out of each other, this is it. Sometimes horror doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be entertaining.
John, wake up. John.
Oh, Jesus. I just had a nightmare.
What was it?
There was this video for Freddy vs. Jason, and it got like over 1 million views.
But we're doing that right now. Why is that a nightmare?
Because it was Red Letter Media, not us.
Oh my God!